around the Indoor Football League on the IFL Network.
The kind of beginning in 2025 for the Arizona Rattlers. A 3-0 record as they get set to take on an in-state rival, the Northern Arizona Wranglers, who are going the other direction. The Wranglers right now at 0-3 as this campaign gets into full swing. We welcome you in, everybody, to Glendale, Arizona, and Desert Diamond Arena, the Snake Pit, the home of the Arizona Rattlers. I'm Floyd Simmons, and my broadcast partner is the three-time Super Bowl champion, Dale Hellestray. And Dale, that Rattlers team out there, it just doesn't seem like they could play any better football than what they are right now. But, you know, their head coach, Kevin Guy, he always seems to find a little this, little that. They could clean up a few things.
I've said many times over the last couple of years, reminds me of my former coach, Jimmy Johnson. He wants something to be just a little bit off with a victory, okay, so that he could harp on that. They had the bye week. Their number one focus, well, actually two, kickoff coverage and penalties. And we'll see how those come to fruition tonight, because there's been some definite emphasis on both of those.
Well, just a few moments ago, I had the chance to talk to head coach Kevin Guy and get his ideas, his thoughts on what to look for tonight as they take on Northern Arizona. Here's Coach Guy.
Coach Guy, when I look at the stat sheet for the league, I look at the categories. The Arizona Rattlers are pretty much at the top of every category, right at or near the top of every category. And yet, when I talked to you yesterday, it seems like there's a lot of unfinished business, a lot of things that you feel like this team needs to do to get better. How can the Rattlers get better than what I'm already looking at?
Well, a lot of little things, you know. We've been very undisciplined with our unsportsmanlike conducts. And, you know, we had 9 drops last week as a receiving core, and we're not playing good on kickoff coverage, and we got to tackle better on defense. So there's a lot of areas that we want to improve on. I haven't even looked at the stats. I don't think stats matter until you get about 4 or 5 games into the season. So, you know, we're just taking it 1 week at a time, trying to get better every week and try to build a dominant roster.
Your team has been running the football really well. Another one of those categories where your team is at or near the top of the league. And yet a new running back in. Shannon Brooks makes his return tonight for the Arizona Rattlers. How about Shannon back out there in pads?
Yeah, it's going to be good to see him out there. You know, he's worked his butt off after his surgery during the offseason, and he just wasn't ready to go for training camp and needed a few weeks to kind of get acclimated. So, you know, the medical team, you know, doctors cleared him, and here we are. So we'll see what he can do.
And your defense. Let's talk about them for a moment. I know that you'd like to see them tackle a little bit better on the field, and yet they're playing so well. You're playing a team that, you know, they need a win desperately, and they're going to pull some stops out, I think, offensively against your team tonight. What is your defense called on to do against the Wranglers?
Well, we need to get stops. We want to get separation. I thought last week we didn't start fast, and, you know, we had a big second quarter, but, you know, it's a game of adjustments, but I want them to adjust to us. I don't want to be adjusted to them. So we got to start faster, be a more physical team, and, you know, just do things right, and the wins and losses will take care of itself.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Head coach Kevin Guy, his words of wisdom before this one gets underway. Let's introduce you to our third broadcast team member, Sandy Charles, down on the field. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, Floyd. Thank you. Yes, like we just heard head coach Kevin Guy say, 10 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. That is so unlike a Rattlers team. I spoke with the head coach about this, and he told me we have high-caliber players in our locker room. They just need to learn how to play together and make better decisions. He also said they're buying in. For example, the offensive line, they're in the weight room, they're eating right, they're losing the weight. He said he wants this team to play a complete game, so we'll look for that today. But they're buying in, Floyd. They're all about it, looking for win number 4.
Good to have you back, Sandy Charles, on our sidelines. And my broadcast partner in the booth is Dale Hellestray. Dale, great to see you back after
I was going to say, is it good to have me back or just good to see Sandy?
Yeah,
Sandy's irreplaceable, I hear.
Well, it's going to be tough to sideline Sandy Charles from the sidelines. Ready to go tonight in the West Valley. For those of you IFL fans who are unfamiliar with the layout of the greater Phoenix area, the West Valley is where you find it's really the mecca of professional sports. The Arizona Cardinals across the street. And, of course, right here, these Arizona Rattlers, defending IFL champions, are going to try to add their 4th win of the season against a squad that desperately needs a victory. Northern Arizona has been struggling out the gates this year after losing their coaching staff, losing some of their best players, all the Bay Area. That line drive kick is fielded and brought back out across the 10-yard line by Northern Arizona. The tackle made right there at about the... We're going to put him at the 12-yard line, and that's where this one gets underway. Welcome in, everybody, to Arizona Rattlers football. And welcome into the West Valley for this one.
Make no mistake, there have been some focused points for this football team. One of them was kickoff coverage. You can't give up kickoff returns for touchdowns in this league and expect to win a whole lot of games, especially against the upper tier teams. And let's keep an eye on the penalties. Will they have any of the post-whistle unsportsmanlike conducts?
So it's going to be the Wranglers on offense to get this underway, and a graduate of Desert Ridge High School is the starting quarterback, C.J. Fowler, Desert Ridge out of Mesa, Arizona, and here comes the give off the right side. That one carried for just a short gain as I toss it over to my partner, Dale Hellestray. Dale, how about the keys to this one, the cobblestone keys to the game?
Interesting because, again, the fast start is needed against a team that is subpar, especially in records. They're 0-3, you're 3-0. You want to get off to a fast start. You know, we talked about these other things. You got to reduce those penalties because those will catch up with you, and then Kevin Guy wants to see them finish the game.
The cobblestone keys to the game. Here is a quick toss caught left side, and that's going to go right out across the 20 and be about a yard shy of the first down. Holland in that pass was David Elder. Elder is one of the most productive members, arguably the most productive member of this Wranglers football squad, and his catch takes it to the 22-yard line, a yard shy for the Wranglers.
Sia Burley, the offensive coordinator for Northern Arizona. You're going to see a little bit of the Arizona Rattlers offensive scheme built into this Northern Arizona squad. Sia Burley, longtime player and coach here with Kevin Guy and the Rattlers.
The Wranglers trying to convert. Here's the give. They'll do just that. The ball is turned up by Elder. He crosses midfield and wrestled down at the Arizona 24-yard line for the Wranglers' first down. And let's take a look at Arizona's starting defense led by that guy right there, Devontae Merriweather. He has been a Defensive Player of the Year in this league. He was the IFL Championship game most valuable player in that win last year. And the defense be anchored in the middle by big Isaiah Coe, number 92. Starting at linebacker tonight, Jalen Campbell. Look at that experienced and outstanding defensive backfield for the Arizona Rattlers, as we do get a flag for a false start on the offense.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Kevin Guy is not afraid to make changes to his squad if he's not happy with their production. But he gets a little concerned when you're talking about up the middle defensively. Coe obviously holding down that nose guard position. He's had a tremendous start to the season. Campbell now in there for a couple games now. Linebacker Castleberry doing a great job from the safety position.
Fowler puts them in motion, and he releases quickly to the right side. That one batted near the line of scrimmage, just right here.
Well, the thing they got to be careful of is I believe their opponents right now know that they can bait the Arizona Rattlers a little bit. You get a little push at the end of the play, a little shove after the whistle. Are you going to respond to that? Because as I've told anybody who I've ever talked to about post-whistle penalties, never been intimidated by somebody pushing me or swinging at me. Please swing on my helmet. That's a knuckleheaded play after the whistle. Knock the snot out of me during the play. Now I've got some things going through my mind.
Fowler, he delivers. And then a very quick An emphatic hit delivered defensively. The guy coming up was Rashi Hodge. Rashi laying the hit on him. It'll be a short gain and bring up third down and about 2.5 yards.
Understand the defensive backs for Arizona. They don't make business decisions as some other defensive backs do, not only in this league, but in the National Football League. They're going to come up and hit you. If you don't come up and play physical for Kevin Guy and this team, you won't be around very long.
So the big hit on defense leaves, and excuse me, after that hit, it's actually third down at 12. It's not a couple to go. There's a deep throw, and that one is picked off. Taken away by Omari Alexander. He's got a blocker down the left side. He'll get driven into the wall, and then late hits afterward. That's going to tack on half the distance from about the 21-yard line, and it will be first down for the Rattlers. Their first offensive possession coming right up, and there's your start. There's your defense stepping up, making a big play.
Ball hung up there just a little bit of time, able to get under that. Nice job by Alexander playing the route perfectly.
The interception after the play was over. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Passing team number 55. His first of the game. Half the distance to the goal. First and 10, Arizona.
So first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty goes against Northern Arizona. You're going to see the return here and then the throw down after he touched the dasher board, and that's where you got to be careful, Arizona. You don't want to negate the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Naz with one of your own, but tremendous job playing that route. Ball hung up a little extra, able to step underneath it, and then what a return.
Well, after they mark off the penalty, it gets set up at the 12-yard line. First down for Dalton Sneed, the starting quarterback. Dalton leads the league in yards from scrimmage as a quarterback this year. Total offense, and he will give the Rattlers a first look at it offensively. Throwing from the get-go, and here's a crossing route that's hauled in by Shannon Brooks. Brooks hit it about the 6-yard line. He goes down right there. Shannon with his first touch of the football this season. He came out, he was hurt, and it took a while to get back, and finally number 3 is back in the lineup. And I'll tell you how valuable Shannon Brooks is. Ron Brown Jr., the guy that's been tasked with playing that running back position the entire first 3 games of the year, had a great 3 games for the Rattlers, and yet look who you get out there. You get Shannon Brooks back in, and he's so good, he steps right into the starting role.
Nice job by Brooks there, but we're going to keep an eye on the offensive line. You got a new center, Bryson Mays, in there too, along with the running back, Shannon Brooks. See this offensive line continue to improve as this season goes along.
Brooks, they string him out left side, and he will dart his way across the 5-yard line to bring up third down and about a yard to go after they mark this thing. Let's take a look at the starting offense for the Arizona Rattlers, led by, of course, the quarterback. Dalton Sneed is the guy that engineers this offense. And, of course, the veteran on the outside, Jamal Miles, jersey number 2. He's been around since all of us were kids, but he plays a lot better than we would at our ages. Look at that guy.
Got challenged coming into training camp by Coach Guy, and he has responded tremendously.
Handoff Shannon Brooks, and he will find a seam into the end zone. That's an Arizona Rattlers touchdown.
I think one question has been answered. Coach Guy said, I want to get off to a fast start. Very lethargic the last game that they played. Then they had the bye week. They had to come back in that second quarter, played a great second quarter. It was imperative they get off to a good start tonight. I would say a turnover defensively, touchdown offensively qualifies.
Just like they wanted, and they've got a 7-0 lead with the point after. Successful. Stand by. We'll grab a timeout as you take another look at the touchdown run by Shannon Brooks. Second, they'll make it third time. He handled the ball on the opening possession, and the third one was the charm. Short yardage touchdown for Shannon Brooks. Stand by, everybody. We'll return in a moment to Glendale with more Arizona Rattlers football on the way. So the Rattlers get the early start, 7-0, and you said it, Dale. They begin with with defense. Defense set him up. The nice return, the unfortunate unsportsmanlike conduct call against Naz, and then the Rattlers punch it in. Fielded at the goal line. And there's a big hole for the return, and that's going to the house for David Elder in Northern Arizona. Twice the last home game, the Rattlers gave up long touchdown returns. It was a point of emphasis in the last couple of weeks with the bye week for the Rattlers. And Dale, it looks like the message wasn't received very well by the defense.
Tremendous job, though. Let's give Naz some credit here. I mean, you got a guy who does not break stride whatsoever. David Elder does a fantastic job reading his blocks. There was one little crease there. He didn't hesitate 1 second, burst through the initial onslaught of Arizona Rattlers, and there was nobody behind him. And there is nothing that can take the air, Floyd, out of a football team quite like a great start defensively and offensively, then your special teams let them tie the game in the blink of an eye.
Well, the point after was added by Brandon Fisher. He was able to tack that on for Northern Arizona, and you're right, we went from that big and boisterous response to the Shannon Brooks touchdown for Arizona. And everybody's back on their sitting on their hands again here.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The crowd, you get off to that start, now the crowd was into it. It was loud. It was loud in my ears, and I have headphones on. And now all of a sudden, oh, okay, now we've got a ball game on our hands.
You saw Isaiah Huff there, back deep to receive the Fisher kickoff for the Rattlers. Nearby him was our game referee, Reed Brotherton. We'll introduce you to our game officials here just as soon as the kickoff is handled by the Rattlers. Fisher will hit a line drive. The high bounce lands up in the hands of Jamal Miles, and Jamal's going to get through the first line of coverage defenders and then across midfield and eventually driven into the wall over there. The referee is Reed Brotherton. The umpire, Brad Carroll. Head linesman, Marcus Johnson. The line judge is Todd Evans, and the back judge is Johnny Price.
Flag down on the play there at some point. The pile of players were covering it.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Kicking team number 3, his first. Half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10, Arizona.
Well, and just so you know, the emphasis they're putting on it from the Arizona Rattlers perspective. Obviously, Kevin Guy addressed, he said they've been playing like it's JUCO ball, and he's instituted a few things. They fined the players, obviously, throughout the season, but now there's a fine. There's a 300-yard timed shuttle, and now the assistant coach coaching that side of the ball will also be fined. So you're disappointing quite a few people if you respond to the nonsense after the whistle's blown.
Well, I may or may not have gotten a little pregame response from a couple of assistant coaches about the new rules in place.
Right.
and I can assure you, they're taking it very seriously.
I can only imagine.
Nobody wants to have to suffer through that or any of the other consequences that go along with it. So we'll see how the Rattlers fare tonight in that category. Corey Reed Jr. with the reception. The quick out route, and he'll take that one for a pickup of about 8 yards on the play. They'll mark him at the 5-yard line, and that'll bring up a first and very short. How about a second and one, to go for the Rattlers.
2nd and 1 from just outside the 5-yard line.
They're going to hand it off left side to Isaiah Houston. Turns it up, and Isaiah Houston plunges into the end zone. a Rattler touchdown.
.5'10", 185 pounds. Isaiah Houston stays healthy throughout the season. He's going to light this league on fire. One of the most talented wide receivers I've seen in this league. You see him carry the ball now. You see the vision. You see the toughness. Explodes into the end zone.
The kick is up. The kick is good for the Rattlers as you watch Isaiah once again. Houston finishing strong. He's found the end zone a number of times this season already for the Rattlers, and he helps get them the lead again. It's 14-7. We grab a timeout. Stand by for more Arizona Rattlers football. So the Arizona Rattlers have had the ball twice, scored touchdowns both times. They have penetrated the red zone with possession of the ball on both of those times with the football. They got inside the 20-yard line. Perhaps they count the red zone as the 10 in here in the indoor league with our short field. I'm not sure where they define that. Normally the 20. This return comes out across the 10-yard line and not much further. Not going to go to the house this time for David Elder. But I bring it up, Dale Hellestray, because the Rattlers are the one team in the IFL this year that have a perfect red zone offense record. They, coming into the game, had gotten into the red zone 17 times, scored on all 17. Nobody else has been perfect in the league.
The play clock is 25
and the Rattlers are now 19 of 19 scoring in the red zone. A couple of those are field goals, but they come away with points every time they send it into the red zone.
And that's a big part of winning football games. You know, there are certain things you look at as a player coach that are really indicators on how well you are playing.
Breakdown on defense, long pass caught, and it looks like Deshaun Stoudemire is going to take that one in for another quick Naz score. Northern Arizona has scored both of their touchdowns via the big play, and that's again a breakdown on defense leads to another 6.
When you look at Stoudemire, 6'1", 190 pounds, gets loose. You got guys trying to fight for position, but Rashi Hodge fell behind. Nice throw by C.J. Fowler and better execution by Stoudemire to get in the end zone. You're right. I mean, kickoff return for a touchdown, first play of offense, a touchdown. And they're staying right in this game. And Floyd, you know as well as I do, you got a team 0-3. You got a team 3-0. That 3-0 team versus the 0-3. 0-3 is looking for a time to shut her down a little bit. The longer you let them hang around, the more apt it's going to be a 4-quarter football game.
Well, the Rattlers are going to get another chance with Dalton Sneed and company on offense coming up. The Arizona offense ranks number 2 in the league in yards gained per game. Iowa Barnstormers, by the way, are number 1 in that category with 222.7 yards gained per outing, and the Rattlers check in with 175.3.
Well, and you look at what the Rattlers have done offensively. Obviously, you got the quarterback back. Came in a little bit late. Entirely new offensive line. You started the first 3 games without your running back. And yet they continue to move onward and upward. And testament to the coaching staff, the recruiting efforts on this team to get players in who can contribute.
Bobbled in the end zone. Scooped up on about the 3rd bobble by Huff, and Isaiah will take it out of the end zone, and that'll come out to the 4-yard line. Danger zone.
Your heartbeat's got to pick up a few ticks there when you're fumbling with the ball in the end zone. You know you got to get out of there, and he's able to do just that.
How many steps per bobble do you think that was by the coverage guys coming downfield?
He's just saying, please.
1.5, two steps per bobble.
Let me get out. Let me get out of here. I don't care if it's to the 1 yard line.
Well, he did get it out of there, and he avoids another fatal special teams miscue by a sector of the game that hasn't gone so well early on this season for the Rattlers. Pass caught by Isaiah Houston. He is body checked, and they're going to give him, they're going to call it the 15? Yeah, they're going to call it the 15-yard line. It was more of an estimate on that. Gain of about 11 on the play. They say he wasn't driven out into that board on the initial contact. So the 15-yard line it is for Isaiah Houston and the Rattlers offense.
Offensive line doing a nice job. They're being very aggressive in their pass protection, almost coming off like it's a run to slow down that pass rush from the Wranglers.
Jamal Miles will get an opportunity, and he'll turn that up and keep on fighting. He was able to somehow escape the grip of Chizzy Umanakwe. And, well, then the discussion is being held because there was a flag way behind the play on the far side of the field.
And there's one here after the whistle. Assistant coach was holding their breath.
Holding their breath and checking balance.
There is no foul to play for illegal defense. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 23, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They got McClendon again. That's 3 on Northern Arizona. You know you come in hyped up. You're going against kind of a rival, and you want to put your best foot forward. You come in, your emotions are high.
Hey, folks, you can lease a brand new 2025 GMC Terrain for only $389 a month for 36 months. Mention the Arizona Rattlers when you go to Liberty GMC, and you receive an additional $500 off. Shop and buy online all the time at libertygmcaz.com. GMC, we are professional grade. Snap, look left, pump right. Snead is going to run the foot. Nope, he gets rid of it. The officials did not throw their marker, indicating that he may or may not have went past the line, and this one is going to end up just shy of the goal line, I think. They peel guys off the stack. They're just, I think, trying to figure out who has the ball right now.
It looked like the ball came out before it was down, but I thought it was across the goal line.
Well, the officials are going to talk. I think the hands are going to get thrown in the air, to be honest with you.
Kevin Guy wanting to see the replay.
Number 9, Junior.
Well, let's see if Reed is going to get credit for a touchdown or a fumble or what.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense in the end zone. By rule, it's a touchback. 1st and 10, Northern Arizona at the 5-yard line.
Well, Dale, I think I'd agree with the officials unless Reed was down by contact with the dasher board. And I couldn't tell from that angle.
That would be the only thing if he's made contact with the dasher board right there.
Timeout in the field. Oh, never mind. We're going.
I'm not sure if it would
he's into the board right there.
Almost looks like it's simultaneous, doesn't it, Floyd?
He gets hit.
Ball comes loose right.
He's making contact with the board.
I just don't know if you'll be able to prove that.
The Arizona head coach is challenging the ruling in the field of a fumble recovered by the defense. The play is now under review. Yeah,
I think he's going to win the challenge, Dale, because I think they're going to find that half a step before the ball came out, he was in contact. The defensive player drove him into the board. He made contact with the board, and then the ball came out. But, of course, I've got my vision's a little younger than yours.
Black jersey, black dasher board.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to take a look at it, and we're going to grab a timeout. We'll return in just a moment. We'll have the results of this review right after this. Stand by. More Arizona Rattlers football on the way. Back into it, have another look. They're still reviewing the play. There's the catch. There's contact. And the question is, did he make contact with the board, with the sideline, which would rule the runner down, or was he still alive by the time the ball came out? And Coach Guy thinks he's going to win himself a referee's review right now.
Obviously, you don't challenge it unless you think you're going to win. Let's see, to me, it's almost simultaneous, and are the officials going to overrule themselves? Because how can you tell he's touching? I mean, it's not like you can see the dasher board go in.
No, but you can see behind, there's some wrinkles that start to pull forward right behind him. Look behind the runner.
You're saying his foot.
Right there. He's in touch. He's in contact. I think he's definitely down.
You can't say "I think" and then say "definitely" in the same sense.
Yeah. Here we go.
After review, the runner was tackled into the wall prior to the ball coming loose. It will be first down for Arizona at that spot, the 1 yard line. Arizona is not charged a timeout and has a challenge remaining.
So obviously, Kevin Guy kind of felt what we thought, or what I thought, because I can't include you in that one, Dale.
No, you can't.
No.
Two geniuses thinking alike.
That's one too many. And Sandy, you were down there near where they were doing that review. What were you observing as they were going through the replay?
I agreed with you guys. Definitely saw what you saw, and clearly they saw it as well.
Wow, just threw me under the bus.
Sorry,
like
Dale.
Nobody's business.
Team smart.
Well, Dale, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm
a big boy.
Might be time for a new prescription on the glasses there. Here's a give. Shannon Brooks, and he'll get toppled at the line of scrimmage, just about there. Not much happening. Good defense. As Northern Arizona filled the hole well. Travarius Farrell, we're familiar with him, former Arizona Rattler, playing linebacker, and he makes that stop at the 1 yard line.
He does, and Darius Johnson, the defensive lineman, 6'3", 290 pounds. I still can't get over seeing these 300-pound dudes in single digits. It just doesn't meet my eye, much like that overturn of the...
It's just not enough. It's not enough digits for you, is it? Here's Shannon Brooks, and he'll try at the left side, and he muscles his way in. Shannon Brooks across for a Rattlers touchdown.
Number 3, Shannon Brooks on the carry for the Rattlers.
Wrangler defenders trying to get their coach to check that replay. Ron James.
Well, if they were thinking about reviewing that, time expired on that thought. And the point is good. And the Rattlers are in front again. This thing keeps going back and forth. Can the Rattlers shut down the return on special teams? Can they stop the big play on offense? Can they start building a lead against a team that the experts are saying, well, they ought to be able to? How about Arizona, a 15.5 point favorite coming into this one?
Boy, double-digit favorites. I know people who just love to bet the underdogs. I just don't gamble much, you know what I'm saying?
No?
Unless I'm in control of something. Love to bet the underdogs. I just don't gamble much, you know what I'm saying?
No?
Unless I'm in control of something.
Midway into the end zone, Elder is stood up and tackled. Great coverage. There is going to be a marker down late after the play. Devontae Merriweather was right on the scene, and he got some help from his teammate Omari Alexander in coverage as well. We'll talk with Sandy in a moment.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, receiving team number 6. Half the distance to the goal, 1st and 10, Northern Arizona.
Well, that's 4. And we're only in the first quarter.
Well, in just a couple of moments, we will get our opportunity to speak with Shannon Brooks, making a, so far, triumphant return for the Rattlers. Pair of touchdowns. CJ Fowler. Last time he put the ball in the air, long touchdown. He gives it this time, and the two safeties are going to come up, converge, and make the stop. Carrying the football was Kobe Smith. Couldn't get away from Devontae Merriweather and Ethan Castleberry.
That is in the first quarter. Timeout in the field.
So the quarter does come to an end. We'll grab a timeout. Return with more exciting IFL action in a moment. 21-14, Arizona leads Northern Arizona. This is Arizona Rattlers football. Well, Sandy Charles is on the sidelines for us, and she's got Shannon Brooks to talk about his triumphant return so far. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, Floyd. Yes, thank you. Shannon, congrats. Your first game back after surgery. What's it feel like out there today?
I want to give all glory to God, and it feels amazing, being back out here with my family, my teammates, and, with the best fan base in the IFL, so it feels great. It's a blessing.
2 touchdowns so far. You're shaking off the rust. How good does it feel to shake off the rust in 2 touchdowns?
It feels good. It just feels good putting the pads back on, putting the helmet back on, and doing what God blessed me to do, and that's run the football and play the game I love. So anytime I'm healthy and can put these pads on, it always feels great.
I just thought you talking to Dalton Sneed. What's the relationship like? How special is it with him?
He's a great leader, a great, even better person, God-fearing man. And he's a true leader, and our relationship is great. He makes sure he, connect with all the guys on the team, and you can just go out there and watch him and see like the leadership that he has and how it impacts the whole team. And it's good to have a leadership in that spot.
Thank you so much. We'll let you get some rest. Floyd, we'll send it to you.
Well, good to have Shannon back. Shannon with a little bit of a cosmonaut look right there. You know what I'm saying? He's looked like he could give Katy Perry a lesson on going to space.
Let me tell you, as a guy who has been injured and missed a year, that hunger is never better than when the game is taken away from you for a little bit, because you sometimes start to take it for granted. And he's made that comeback, and look for big things from him for the rest of the year.
Here's the give, and an upending tackle by Devontae Merriweather as Kobe Smith tried to cut inside of him, but Merriweather with the shoulder right in the spot, and the cartwheeling tackle, gain of a couple on the play.
Merriweather, not real big for playing kind of a linebacker spot, but man, is he physical, and when he hits you, you are hit.
CJ Fowler, the quarterback for Northern Arizona, he's going to run all the way. Wrapped up, though. Great job peeling off the guy trying to block him. That's Jalen Campbell, the linebacker, and Jalen was being blocked right up the middle, but he was able to get to the quarterback and make that tackle and keep that from any worse damage. Ball at the 19-yard line.
Really nice job on that particular play. Isaiah Coe slants to the left, and so there is a gap there that Jalen Campbell has to fill, and he does it with a man blocking him also.
Wranglers put him in motion. One-handed catch made. Beautifully done, and the ball goes inside the 10-yard line. What a catch by Deshaun Stoudemire.
Reaches up in the middle of the field, knowing that there's lurking defenders all around him. I mean, you're putting yourself in harm's way right here. Great concentration, brings it in, and still gains some yards after the catch. Tremendous job by Stoudemire. We've seen him make a couple big plays here early in the football game.
And he sets up Northern Arizona with a 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. And this one is going to be, I think they were trying to complete the pass. Almost looked like Fowler was trying to ground the ball, but it did go in and off the pads of his receiver. Were they setting up a screen in the middle?
Looked like it was a middle screen, and he just threw it low, maybe trying to avoid the outstretched arms of the Rattlers defensive line, but almost a great catch. And then they had a little wall set up in front of him.
Fowler runs the option, and he is spun down at the 2-yard line. Wrapped up in the middle, was that Kevin Sims? It was. Kevin Sims Jr. gets to the play, and the quarterback gets to the 2-yard line. It'll be at that spot 3rd down and goal.
As I'm watching this NAS team, or you want to just call them the Wranglers, offensive line is gaining confidence with each and every down. Their body language is good. They're excited. And they think they're in this football game to win it.
Try to tie this one up, flip it out right side, the stretch for the end zone. And the official says, indeed, that one goes across for the touchdown. Marvin Kinsett is able to take that in. Contact made right at the goal line, but not enough. Kinsett is able to put the 6 on the board for the Wranglers.
Well, and you talk about the exuberance, the center for Northern Arizona. You see him right there, number 50. His name's not here in the on the roster, at least the one that I have. And he takes Campbell, the linebacker, all the way back to the dasher board.
And you see the try for the point is no good.
Looking for a light beer.
Arizona with the slim lead in a game that has seen the big play work for Northern Arizona early on in this. Here's a bounding kick that goes into the tunnel. And there go some fans on the chase for the souvenir. So that's going to go out of bounds. Eventually somebody will emerge triumphant with a football. Maybe not. I'm sure anybody's going to end up with that ball. So the ball will be marked at the 20 after the ball goes out of bounds.
18-yard line, 1st and 10.
Okay, they're going to say that it did land in the field of play, and then it went over the wall at that mark. So that is a no return for the Rattlers. It's 1st and 10 for Arizona at their own 18-yard line. And so we bring you back into Arizona Rattlers football. Floyd Simmons along with Dale Hellestray here on the call. On the sidelines for us, Sandy Charles. And at the helm for this Rattlers offense is Dalton Sneed, the defending IFL championship winning quarterback. Here's a toss right side. Reaching up and hauling that one in is Corey Reed Jr.
Wouldn't Dalton be the back-to-back IFL championship quarterback?
And indeed he would.
Yes, just 1 year with the Rattlers.
Yes, the 2-time defending IFL championship quarterback. And the previous year was
in Bay Area
with the Bay Area Panthers. Sneed puts them in motion. And that is tipped but caught by Shannon Brooks. And he might, I believe he is going to have the 1st down. I never heard a whistle anywhere in that, did you? Until after the play.
I did not hear a whistle the whole way around, and boy, it certainly looked like he's in the dasher board area. And it looked like he had one of the defensive linemen for Northern Arizona come over there and just wrangle him down like a wrangler would a
doggy.
Yes. Whatever that's called, where you lasso him and then tie him down. You know those things. They do that up in Charlotte.
We do that where I'm at. They also do that in Prescott Valley area, where Northern Arizona's from. Here's a throw over the middle. Beautiful pass. Great catch. Corey Reed Jr. finishes the deal. Touchdown, Arizona. That was an absolute dart. Thrown beautifully down the seam. Sneed to Reed. And a touchdown.
All starts with that protection up front, but Reed 6'3", 210. What a nice target in the middle of the field. Outraces the underneath coverage by the linebacker, beats the safeties to the point, and then a perfect throw from the quarterback, Dalton Sneed.
Points are on the board. The Rattlers lead is solid 8 right now, 28-20. Stand by, more Arizona Rattlers football is on the way. Dale Hellestraith. Dale, can you do the chicken dance there? Dale, it's a popular.
I've lived over 60 years of my life.
Yeah.
Floyd.
Yeah.
And I made it through without doing the chicken dance one time.
Dale, earlier in the broadcast, you said when the player bobbled the ball, and his heart probably jumped. When you were a player, what made your heart jump? We can wait till after this play, but I just want to know what made your heart flutter like, oh no.
I got one play in particular.
Okay.
We'll find out after Dawson Evans sends it away. Here's the deep kick. Nothing fancy about what the Arizona Rattlers normally do when they kick the ball off, but a good return. That will come out to midfield and bringing it back, as he has nicely today a couple of times. David Elder brings it back out for Northern Arizona. Ball marked right at the 25-yard line. Dale, answer the question.
First Super Bowl. Go out. We got stuffed 3 downs and out and about the 8-yard line, and I went out there. Nobody told us they used 100 brand new balls in the Super Bowl. You ever felt a football come right out of a box, Floyd? That plastic filmy, slippery.
Very, very slippery.
I went to move it to where I wanted, and it slipped out of my hand, and I said, oh my goodness.
It's going to be a fun one. Here's a flip right side. And we'll get whistles. I believe that's going to be a false start.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Marvin Kinsett is not going to get credit for whether that was a rush or a pass catch. One or the other. Was a pretty lateral delivery from the quarterback. Doesn't matter at this point. Move it back to the 20-yard line, and it will be 1st and 15 with the mark-off for Northern Arizona's offense. Well, coming into the game, Northern Arizona was, I believe they were the least penalized team in the league. The Rattlers, the most penalized team in the league. But some of that emphasis seems to be paying off for the Rattlers on trying to clean some things up, because so far the feel is, I haven't looked at stats, Dale, but the feel is that the Rattlers are playing a cleaner game in the penalty department than is Northern Arizona. Pump fake, Fowler will tuck, and he'll get chased down. Kevin Sims, range and roaming, and he gets help from his fellow defensive lineman out there. Also coming in, Rashawn Yates to help put the stop on C.J. Fowler and limit him to just a couple picked up on the play.
What a tremendous job. Watch him. He comes up and under. Watch the acceleration right here. Not only that, but he had knocked the running back off of his intended route. and then chased him down. What a tremendous individual effort by Sims getting him down on the ground.
Yeah, it might be the so far hustle effort play of the game from any one of these Rattlers. And Sims is going to put a big hit on the quarterback on the release this time. Fowler slow and getting up the field. It'll be a first down for Kobe Smith. Fowler had Sims just zeroing in on him, and he was able to stand in, take the punishment, and deliver a strike for what I thought was going to be a first down, but they'll say he was hit into the dasher about a yard shy. Third down on the way.
These last two plays show the explosion that Sims has available in his body, and I think all you want to do is see that a little bit more often throughout the game.
And we'll have a timeout for equipment, I think. Well, not equipment. Thought somebody was down maybe tying a shoe. I'm blocked from view, and it is Ethan Castleberry who is going to have to limp his way to the sideline and go get some treatment.
Let's hope it's a cramp. Hope we see him out here again fairly shortly. Able to move the leg.
Castleberry, part of a crew that comprises one of the best defensive secondaries in the league. Isaiah Huff will replace him at safety. Kobe Smith in motion, and they'll give it kind of a modified delay there, and trying to stretch and get that first down. I think it's going to be granted to Marvin Kinsett. And it is. First down. Northern Arizona, they just got a ball inside the 15-yard line.
Campbell doing everything possible. Pretty darn good collision right at the point of attack. And Kinsett, 6'1", 210 pounds. Low center of gravity.
Release, and that's going to go in and out of the hands of Smith along the right dasher. Omari Alexander providing defense for the Rattlers.
When we talk about this Naz offense and Sia Burley, and Kevin Guys admitted it over the years, I mean, there's a Rattlers run a certain offense. There's a little complication to it. It takes time for quarterback and receivers to get on the same page. Look right there, Sia Burley wanted the quarterback, C.J. Fowler, to go to another receiver.
Fowler over the middle, that pass hauled in. Merriweather is able to get there for the tackle, prevent any further damage. Hauling the pass in was Jamal Couch. Couch came across, able to get the ball to the 6-yard line. That'll bring up second down and very short. Northern Arizona.
First three scores for Naz. Big plays, big pass play, return, and all that. And now this is a methodical drive. Taking time off the clock and marching the ball down the field against the Rattlers.
Under 3 minutes remaining in the half. What a great job up front. That was just a terrific job by Castleberry, who is back on the field after just getting dinged up a little while ago, and he is able to make the tackle right at the line of scrimmage. Trying to reach out, stretch out was Kinsett, but he was unable to escape the clutches of Ethan Castleberry. And of course, some help there provided as well by the linebacker, Jalen Campbell. And look at this. It's fourth down, 4th and a yard for Northern Arizona.
Keep an eye on the nose tackle position. Isaiah Coe just came off the field.
Throw it left side. Good play call, but it's going to skip in. Incomplete. It hit turf on the way in. Fowler.
On the field. As the ball hit the ground, it's an incomplete pass. Turnover on downs, 1st and 10, Arizona.
Fowler came up just a little bit shy on the throw on that left side, and that's a red zone stand by Kevin Guy's defense.
He comes open as both receivers on that side run slant routes, try and pick off the defensive ends or gently rub them if you're the offense, and had a chance to squeeze that in there.
Good to see Castleberry make a quick return to the lineup on defense, and he immediately made that hit in the backfield that resulted in a no gain eventually. Prior to that fourth down attempt, you were talking about Sia Burley, who is the offensive coordinator for Northern Arizona. Well, he is part of the Kevin Guy coaching tree.
Yes, he is.
And Coach Guy talking yesterday.
1 minute warning.
We're going to grab a timeout, but Coach Guy talking yesterday about Burley and that this Northern Arizona offense, they run exactly the same offense as do the Rattlers. We'll talk more about that coming up. Grab this timeout. Stand by, everybody. The final 60 seconds of this first half. Coming up next, Arizona Rattlers football returns. With over 49 Valley locations and more coming soon, you're sure to find a Cobblestone Auto Spa near you. Save time, save money, and go unlimited with Cobblestone Auto Spa. When you sign up for an unlimited plan, you enjoy exclusive benefits, and you get to wash all you want, whenever you want, with no contract required. And a membership pays for itself in less than 2 visits. Just ask a Cobblestone team member for details or visit cobblestone.com to find a location and sign up today. Cobblestone Auto Spa, official car wash of the Arizona Rattlers. And with a touchdown lead, the Rattlers go to work in this final minute. Sliding in on his knees and making a catch near that far sideline is Corey Reed. The Rattlers hustle to the line. That is going to be a 9-yard pickup. You mark it right at the 15-yard line. Shannon Brooks out of the backfield with a catch.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock at 51 seconds. 51 seconds.
Always interesting how Kevin Guy runs these 1-minute drills.
Thank you.
Kind of surprised he's throwing the sideline routes and having his guys stop the clock when 50 seconds are still left. Usually he's going to make you try and use all your timeouts, score with under 10 seconds left, so you don't have the opportunity to get the ball back and score before the half.
The jet sweep, and Jamal Miles didn't get much, maybe a yard on the play. Miles hit just shy of midfield. Mark him at the 24-yard line, out of bounds to stop the clock with 45.8 seconds remaining in the half.
Really like the way this offensive line is played. I got to see him in person in the first home game, and they have gotten, as Kevin Guy said yesterday, they've taken their job seriously. They've lost a little bit of weight because they're huge. They're absolutely huge up front. And I really like the way that things are transitioning now. You got Bryson Mays in the middle, and he's doing a nice job this evening.
Here's the delivery to Shannon Brooks. Shannon will get tackled inbounds, and that'll keep the clock moving, and we'll see. Well, coach is urging his guys, get up on the line. And then a timeout was taken.
Timeout. Northern Arizona, they're first. 30 seconds in late. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock at 38 seconds.
Northern Arizona grabbing a timeout.
Well, that's usually the strategy of Kevin Guy. You're going to stay inbounds, try and get rid of all those timeouts, and then you control the pace of the game. They pick up the first down here, and you run the ball once or twice. Northern Arizona has to use those timeouts. Now you have complete control of the rest of the first half. Because, just for those who are maybe just tuning in for the first time, the last minute of an indoor football league game, all the rules change. And it's more like outdoor football. In fact, you touch the dashboard, clock stops. Incomplete pass, the clock stops. All those things that don't stop the clock up until that 1 minute warning.
Well, it's an exciting game for all 30 minutes of either half, but the final minute that's when you really, you get the most intense excitement, and we'll see what the final 38 seconds have for us. Quarterback draw to the 15-yard line, first down for the Rattlers.
Now they'll stop the clock to move the chains, and we'll see if Northern Arizona uses another timeout.
Well, Coach Guy's taking a little bit of time.
Now the clock just started. And interesting, Northern Arizona not using a timeout here.
I think there's a threshold, right? A time where you decide, well, now the advantage goes to the other guy. Here's Shannon Brooks battling, fighting, staying on his feet, and he gets a nice mark to the 11-yard line, and that will stop play. A timeout taken now by the Rattlers.
Have to admire the way that the Wranglers are playing.
Arizona, they're first. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 17 seconds. 17 seconds. Thank you.
They're playing hard. Their defense is running the football. I mean, it's very impressive because this is that teetering point in the season. I've been on a 2-14 football team up in Buffalo, and it's no fun when you haven't won a game or you're that far back in the standings, and yet this team playing really, really hard, very, very physical, and that's a testament to that coaching staff. And Ron James, obviously a veteran of this game, been around a long time and trying to put the pieces back together.
And with Rattlers, a great start, 3-0, but talking to Kevin Guy yesterday, Dale, one of the things that struck me is that he said, he didn't say his team could just be a little bit better. He said that the potential of this team is significantly greater than what we've already seen. And again, that is so hard to fathom because the Rattlers have played a terrific first 3 games, and now a little slow in the first half of this, but they're going to try to get a 2-touchdown lead going in. Here's a catch by Isaiah Houston inside the 5. Isaiah good for about 8 yards on the pickup. Stop the clock for a moment, but Coach Guy wants a timeout.
They're second, 30 seconds in length.
So this is more like the Rattlers that I would expect. You're expecting to score now. It will be under 10 seconds left when they score the ball, the kickoff, the clock starts running, and all those things come into play.
So you got one timeout left. You would like to leave 0 time off the clock if you could do it. He's willing to take some risk you don't see in a lot of other levels of football.
And even in this level of football.
They're going to run it with the quarterback right side. Dalton Sneed dives. And he's into the end zone. A Dalton Sneed touchdown.
Well, you gotta love the home cooking timekeeper. You let the clock keep running after the touchdown, make the officials have to, he's going to turn it back to 7 seconds. What a tremendous drive. Use their timeouts judiciously. They're not going to have a 2-score lead.
Punched it through, and with that kick, 35-20, there's Dalton Sneed cashing in on that one. Dalton averages a couple of touchdowns rushing a game, and there's the first one today. The official looking for 7 seconds to be placed on the clock. That'll give time for a kick return and, in all likelihood, an offensive play.
That play, you put pressure on the defensive end. He has to make a choice. Does he have the running back or does he have the linebacker? I'm surprised more teams, when they play against the Rattlers, don't send somebody right at the quarterback and make him get rid of the football. And by the way, probably take a little bit of a hit along the way.
They're having fun here in Arizona. The fans are. The Rattlers, of course, getting a lead, but it's going to be an interesting talk with Coach Guy coming up here in a little bit. Because I'm sure he would like to see his team faring a little bit more successfully against a struggling team like Northern Arizona. 0-3 coming in, but that long kick return, the long touchdown pass early on in the first half by C.J. Fowler on a complete breakdown in the secondary. Things you would certainly like to clean up, and something tells me that's going to be on Kevin Guy's mind going in to talk to his guys at halftime. Here's one from the S and the Rattlers logo, and Elder has room to run. Look at him turn the Jets on and take it inside the 5. I'm looking. They may have indicated a touchdown.
They did indicate touchdown.
That would be back-to-back games with kick return touchdowns. And that is indeed what the referee says. A touchdown for Northern Arizona. And that'll be an unsportsmanlike penalty on Isaiah Houston.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Arizona, number 22, his first. That penalty placed in the bank and forced on the second half kickoff.
Forgive me, Isaiah. That was, well, it was Isaiah. It was Huff, not Houston. Flag for that penalty. Came over and had words for the referee and pointed to the screen up. I think he was trying to tell him, hey, take a look at that up there, okay? Doesn't agree that he was in, and the fans are asking Coach Guy to review the play. Coach Guy just responded to the fans down on where the touchdown was scored.
Really the field of a touchdown. The play is now under review.
I believe Coach Guy was influenced by these fans, right? You're going to see the fans come into play right up against the dasher board as Elder gets near the goal line, and they all say he was out of bounds, or going to say he went into the board. Well, see, Castleberry, was that Castleberry on the tackle? Whoever that was kind of shielding him from going into the board for a moment there.
This angle might tell us. It's after he gets spun, right? Oh, no.
Well, our angle on that is very much undefinitive.
Yeah, it's blocked.
Can't tell from that angle. Really doesn't hurt the Rattlers much to challenge this one at this point anyway. I wonder how much the fans were just going crazy right there, trying to yell at Coach Guy to get his attention and have him review the play, because they felt very confident that Elder went into the sideline right there.
He's good to there. It's right there.
I think you're right. But can you really use that as your evidence?
And that's what I'm saying. But his body definitely looks like it changes direction, right?
Oh, yeah.
There, you're telling me the helmet's not touching right there?
Yeah, I think the fans were right, and it wasn't a case of them having too much elixir before the play.
But then again, are those two angles enough to overturn it? It has to be clear and convincing.
I doubt it. I doubt we'll get an overturn unless the officials are able to see another camera angle that we haven't been able to look at. Here's the
review. The runner's left arm struck the wall prior to the goal line. Therefore, the half is over.
That's it. Round out the clock. They're going to take those points off the board. That is not the angle that shows it.
Because originally I'm looking at the fans down there. They weren't acting all crazy immediately. Wow.
Kevin Guy is standing by with our Sandy Charles.
Thanks, Floyd. Coach, let's talk about that play. The booth was just talking about it. Was it the fans, or did you see that he was in the boards?
No, we saw it. I just wanted to hear them complain for a few seconds. Okay. So, yeah.
Let's talk about Shannon Brooks. First game back of this season, 2 touchdowns. What have you seen from him from your coach's eye?
Yeah, I mean, our offense is executing. Brooks has done his job. So, I'm never really going to know until I watch the film. But, we've scored every time we've had the ball. It looks like they may be challenging over here to see. Maybe we have to bring our guys back out of the locker room. I don't know. But, two kickoffs went back for touchdowns. Our defense is just kind of, in my opinion, going through the motions. We'll have a little chat with them at halftime and see how they come out and play.
What's going to be your message to special teams?
Well, we get the ball second half, so we need to come out and score and open this game up. And, but defensively, I mean, look, Coach Burley's been here. He's been with us since 2008. He knows a lot of the things that we like to do, but we threw him a couple of wrinkles as well. So, we just got to execute. That's the bottom line.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Floyd?
Doesn't look like the challenge is, well, I don't know. The officials have run over. I can't tell if they're running into their break room or, I don't think there's a challenge forthcoming. So we're going to take it out to break, everybody. We'll have a halftime breakdown for you on the way in just a few moments. Interesting first half of football. Our score at the break, Arizona 35, Northern Arizona 20. More IFL football action continues on the IFL Network right after this. Stand by. So the Arizona Rattlers came out tonight, made a great defensive play, interception, good return, set up the first score of the game. The Rattlers were able to turn that into points, get an early lead, but there was a long kick return, and there was a long C.J. Fowler touchdown pass for Northern Arizona a couple of possessions later for the Wranglers. All of that led to a rough start for Arizona on special teams and on defense. However, they have managed to put 35 points on the board. Their offense remains perfect in the red zone this season, the only team in the IFL that has not failed to score on a given possession in the red zone. So they keep that streak alive. They cleaned a few things up, but still, they have let Northern Arizona hang around. And here at halftime, it's 35-20. Welcome back in to this broadcast of Arizona Rattlers football on the IFL Network. Floyd Simmons here, Dale Hellestray alongside. And Dale, the Rattlers, they continue to do great things. Come in 3-0 and now a 2-touchdown halftime lead, but starting to see what Coach Guy's talking about. There are a few things to clean up, and those things are becoming very evident.
They are rearing their ugly head again. Obviously, the kick coverage team is going to be under intense scrutiny. Let's remember now, there's been 2 replays that were bang-bang that both went in the Rattlers' favor. Or else this easily could be a tie game or a 1-point game. But they got both calls to go their way. And that's how close this game is. And obviously you come into this game thinking 3-0, 0-3. Well, you got to figure Naz is not losing every game this season. They're not going 0-16. You don't want that win to be here. Now.
Absolutely not.
Now.
Well, last year, about the midway point of the season, you had one undefeated team. That was Vegas.
Right.
You had a team with no wins, and that was Tucson. Or maybe Tucson had one win, but they had the worst record in the league. You had the best record versus the worst record in that game about midpoint of the season. Tucson came up with the win.
Yes.
Tucson got that win, and that is exactly what the Rattlers have to try to avoid. And it seems like every game they play from this point forward, you keep the momentum up like they've had, and other teams are going to have more of those opportunities. Remember, and the target on the Rattlers' back is huge.
Not only are you the defending champions, but you get off to a 3-0 start. each team that you play is going to have a bullseye on you. And Floyd, let me tell you real quick. So I was talking to a friend of mine who played for the 49ers. His rookie year was 95. And he said, they halfway through the season we played. He came in on Monday and he said, Dale, we're playing you guys on Sunday. I didn't recognize our locker room, our training room, or our coaching staff. It was that intense all week because it was Dallas week. I promise you, each team that's playing the Rattlers, they come in, beginning of the week, it's a completely different week to them.
Hey, coming up in the second half, at the conclusion of our game, we will be announcing the Thirsty Lion player of the game. That's going to be happening here at the conclusion of our broadcast. Thank you to Thirsty Lion. And we'll grab a timeout when we return. Coach Kevin Guy, and the second half is on the way. Stand by, everybody. 35-20. The Rattlers in front of the Wranglers. This is Arizona Rattlers football. So the Arizona Rattlers in front by 2 touchdowns. We get ready for the second half in a moment, but let's review the cobblestone keys to the game. Dale Hellestray, you walked us through this at the beginning. How about it?
Well, I like to evaluate things, too, and obviously the fast start, they came out, they got a turnover defensively, went down, scored a touchdown, so that's a fast start. But then we get a little bit skewed here. The reduced penalties, they've done good. They got a unsportsmanlike conduct there at the end of the half. We'll see how that's dealt with. But now we'll see how they're going to finish the game. The one thing that, you only get 3 keys. The 4th key was going to be kickoff coverage. That's still a work in progress.
No doubt. Let's talk to Coach Kevin Guy down on the sidelines.
Hey, Floyd, thanks. Coach, before the game, you mentioned multiple times you need your defense to tackle. How do you assess how they've done?
Well, I think we're tackling. We're just we've been a little late sometimes, and it's our kickoff team. So I didn't even get the message out. Jeff had beat me to it before I got in there. So I think it was pretty clear.
Let's keep it real simple then. What are you liking? What do they need to clean up?
Well, our special teams, offensively we've scored every time we've had the ball. Defensively we got 2 stops, but they've gotten 7 off the kickoff return. And then we gave up a big play. Hodges' eyes was in the backfield. He got beat on a scissors play on the post. Just some little things. And I think we'll tighten up this half.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Floyd.
Dale, a while ago you talked about the 2 reviews that the Rattlers threw the flag on, their challenge flag, and they both worked out.
They both did.
And they were critical.
Basically 14 points, Floyd, because the fumble, if that's overturned, that's not a touchdown for the Rattlers, and Naz has the football, and they're at the end of the half. It's either a touchdown or his left arm miraculously is spotted by somebody who has, what's that, Superman vision that touched the dashboard. So in my mind,
X-ray vision.
X-ray vision. In my mind, that's 14 points. The game right now is 35-20. Again, I went to SMU. We weren't the smartest, but we weren't the dumbest. So at 14,
SMU. We called it SMU at the time.
You come on up and show them. You didn't even know where SMU was.
It's somewhere in Texas. Hey, man, I was a big fan. Listen, Eric Dickerson's my all-time favorite running back, okay?
You never would have heard of him without me. Do you know that? Do you thank me? Have you ever thanked me?
I actually never have, so maybe I need to get down to that.
Hey, by the way, he's my favorite running back, too.
Yeah? You didn't mind blocking for that guy, did you?
No, not at all.
How about Craig James, huh?
Those 2 were just absolutely unbelievable. I had the fortune in my career, Floyd, of blocking for both of them, Thurman Thomas in Buffalo and Emmitt Smith in Dallas. And still, for my money, if I got to take one, give me Eric Dickerson.
Coaches always talk about pad level, right? And when whoever's got the lowest pad level is going to win the dogfight there. And you want your running back to get that pad level down low, but Eric Dickerson ran that. His upper body was vertical straight up and down, and it just didn't matter and he could still cut and slice, but his acceleration, how in the world did he manage to make that a successful running style?
Because he only did that in the open field in traffic. It wasn't until his senior year he learned he could run guys over. He started running guys over, and then that just opened a whole world of possibilities, because now you're breaking down as a defender, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
I like to think his running style and mine were somewhat the same. We could put a glass of Coca-Cola on top of our head and sprint down the field and wouldn't spill a drop.
You'd like to think so. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Okay, and one more question on that. We'll get off that subject. Yeah. Okay, all right. You got Eric Dickerson, the great Craig James, and the incomparable Dale Hellestray. Outside the big three, who's the next greatest SMU football player ever?
Ever. Boy, you're going with, how about Don Meredith? How about
Dandy Don?
Dandy Don went to SMU.
Yeah.
Doak Walker, Heisman Trophy winner.
He's got a whole award named after him. It's a coveted college football award, Doak Walker. Okay, so there's some big names. I'll go with Dandy Don there. Here's a high chopping kickoff to get the second half underway, and that's trouble. That is trouble. And Isaiah Houston is going to try to fight his way to the 1 yard line. The ball come out of there. Or maybe it didn't. Just somebody diving over the pack.
Boy, oh boy, another inches call.
And another.
Run the field is that Arizona got the ball out of the end zone. It'll be 1st and 10 at the half-yard line. Once again, the rule in the field is that Arizona got the ball out of the end zone. The bank foul will be enforced half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10, Arizona.
Well, that was another near disaster on special teams for the Rattlers. We want to thank our good friends at Liberty GMC with their over 49 Valley. Pardon me on that. Liberty GMC. The read material just escaped us, but big thank you to the good people at Liberty GMC for their partnership here with us and the Arizona Rattlers. They bring you the hero of the game, and that was, you're looking at some footage from just a little while ago with the hero acknowledged and recognized here tonight at the Rattlers home contest. A toss made left side. Shannon Brooks hauls it in. Catch is made, and Brooks will be stopped at about the 7 yard line.
I'm going to tell you, Floyd, that's 3 plays that have gone to the Arizona Rattlers' favor, and sometimes when you win, you get those breaks, and when you're losing, you don't get those breaks. But that's the 3rd time here that the Arizona Rattlers barely got out of the end zone.
Dalton Sneed connects with, I think that's Johannes Tyler. It is, with a catch here on the near side of the field. Johannes able to take it to the 16 yard line, move the chains, and a Rattlers first down.
Always interesting because this Arizona Rattler team, you didn't hear Hines' name, Tyler's name called very often in the first half, but now right out of the gate, he's catching the pass, and you wonder how involved that he will be here in the second half.
Tyler gets the handoff. Tyler's hit at the 20, just shy of the 20 yard line, make it the 19, gain of about 3 on the play. Once again, our friends at Liberty GMC, how about $15,500 off a new 2024 Sierra 1500? Mention the Arizona Rattlers to receive an additional $500 off your vehicle purchase. Shop and buy online all the time at libertygmcaz.com. GMC. We are professional grade. And Liberty GMC presents the Arizona Rattlers hero of the game, honoring our servicemen and women. Here is a catch made in the middle of the field, and it's a steady diet of Johannes Tyler. And this is a gain of about 15 on the play. First down, Rattlers at the 17 yard line.
Such a smooth route runner. Obviously a young guy, came in here. That 6'4" target in the middle of the field is a quarterback's best friend. You can find him. He's got great hands, catches the ball, and he's off to the races trying to get more yards after the catch as soon as the ball's in his hands.
Shannon Brooks in the backfield with Dalton Sneed. Throw to the end zone, and boy, I tell you, the wall got there in a hurry for Isaiah Houston. I mean, the brakes went on immediately just before the ball made contact with the hands.
And understand, people, the dashboards have pads, but they are still very solid pieces of wood underneath those pads. And your body's going to feel that impact.
You don't really appreciate it until you get down on the field, you walk it, and you go up to that pad there, and you think, I'm going to kind of run into this thing. And then, I mean,
no, thank you.
It's like the thing took a couple of steps and then hit you. Here's Dalton Sneed, tucks it, shifts directions, and he'll go inside the 5-yard line. He is tracked down. Markers down behind the play.
Well, unfortunately, it's a nice block, but Brooks is called.
Offense number 3. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Not sure if that was holding Floyd, but it was right in the middle. There's nobody else around. Looked like the linebacker made an unusual movement. You're going to see Shannon Brooks. Watch him go right up the middle. Now it's one-on-one. There's nobody around.
Yeah, once he got the hands on him, it was like Velcro. He just really couldn't peel him off, could he?
And I'm going to just tell you this, because you need to keep an eye on it. Defenders, and I'm not just saying Naz is doing it, and more defenders, NFL, college, defenders start to act like they're holding. He knew he was going to be able to make the tackle on that, so why not act like I'm getting help?
We call that a flop, is what we call that. Dalton Sneed winds up, delivers toward the sideline, and it is going to be incomplete, intended for Isaiah Houston, one of the IFL's leading receivers this year. Isaiah near the top of the charts, yardage per game, receptions, touchdowns, and he has not been able to collect a lot today.
But he's a big play waiting to happen, and obviously if you're Kevin Guy in this offense, you want to get him involved. Still almost came down with the catch. Ball's thrown into the crowd, but almost came down with it.
Two veterans, Isaiah Houston, Jamal Miles in motion. And the crossing route is wide open. Shannon Brooks has it. And he is wrestled down at about the 15-yard line. Another marker down in the backfield.
You can get roughing the passer on, looks like.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 5. Half the distance from the goal. Automatic first down.
Darius Johnson. So we're upwards of 5 or 6 personal fouls. Boy, we can get another look at that. That's certainly.
Was it debatable?
I think it was debatable. I think the helmet hit him in the shoulder pads. Again, my naked eye, though, you've already questioned my eyesight a number of times tonight, so don't believe me. Let's see here. Well, he did have 2 steps, but
contact was pretty late. Here's Shannon Brooks around the left side, whatever the contact may have been. And it goes inside the 5-yard line. They'll mark it near the 2 for Brooks and the Arizona offense. Hey, by the way, there's something else. We're going to see if we can get a chance to look at this. It might come into play right here. The umpire is now in the backfield, and so they have this. They've made this little thing. They call it the Wolf. It's named after Reed Brotherton's one of his teachers, named Mr. Wolf, and they call it the Wolf. And it's a marker they put down 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage to mark the area for mark the spot of the linebacker, because the umpire is now in the offensive backfield. I don't see the Wolf down right now here. Here's the fake. Dalton Sneed tucks it up, goes into the end zone. Arizona on the board with a touchdown. Dalton Sneed delivering.
Just continuing to lay on people, block people, and Kevin Guy talked about it with Sandy. Got to come out and establish herself in the difference in the score.
One more time. Dalton Sneed takes it across. And the Rattlers now possess a 42-20 advantage over Northern Arizona. This is Arizona Rattlers football. Hey, we're back in and having a great time today at the Snake Pit. You know, Dale and I, we were talking about the chicken dance earlier, Dale. We were talking about that. You know, that's a fan favorite at weddings. Hey, Sandy Charles is down there up against the dasher board with a couple who just got married, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, Floyd. Yep, that's right. I'm actually really comfortable. This is Walter, Marianne. They were just married a week ago. The king and queen of the Rattlers, I would say. How long have you been fans?
10 plus years.
And what makes the Rattlers so special to you and your marriage? What makes it so special?
It's just the way that we bond here.
Marianne, very quiet. I know you want him to do all the talking. Oh, but because of his love for the Rattlers, you now love the Rattlers. What is it about the Rattlers?
I don't know. It's great, together time.
Okay, but inside info, Rattlers were included in the vows. Okay, what is this all about? Why was that so important? Paint the picture for the viewers.
Because when we first met, I always told her that I loved the Rattlers more. And then when I gave my vows, I told her that I loved her more than the Rattlers now.
Okay, we're going to need to have proof of that because right now you have a Rattlers tattoo, but we need...
I have the vows at home.
Okay, but are we going to get a tattoo with her name?
Probably not.
Well, congratulations. Can we
show
see
us
the
a tattoo? There we go. There's the Rattlers tattoo.
How bad did that hurt?
Thanks, Sandy.
Not at all.
Okay, back to you, Floyd.
Thank you, Sandy. Wow, that's dedication. And I'm talking about the guy dedicated to the Rattlers and the wife dedicated to the guy dedicated to the Rattlers.
Yes, I as a guy who's been married 37 years, one word of advice, get her name tattooed somewhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere, okay, because it's going to come back some point, sometime. Here's the give. And that is Elder going nowhere. He runs right into that big heavy on the front line. And the guy that met him straight up was Rashawn Yates making the stop for the Rattlers. And that's a modest gain at best. Goes out to the 20-yard line. Gain of 1.5 yards maybe on the play.
Yates is only listed, I had a double check. He's only listed at 6'3", 280. But, boy, when he hits somebody... he hits somebody like he's about 320 pounds. Great hustle down the line of scrimmage. There's going to be a cutback lane there, but Yates was there to cut it off and make the tackle.
2nd down and 9. C.J. Fowler has to reach up and pull down that errant snap. He does. And a short gain on this play as they keep it between the guards. Marvin Kinsett with the carry, and he gets it out to the 22-yard line. Gain of about 2 on the play.
Anytime you're trying to run the football in the indoor football league with the way the backfields are set up, a snap that's just a little off center can throw the entire play out of whack.
Fowler puts them in motion. Stepping up, pressure, and he dumps it out. And that'll go across the 25-yard line. Pickup on this one of right at about 5 yards on the play. C.J. Fowler did a great job. Stay alive. Make something out of it for the Wranglers.
What a nice job initially. You got 2 Rattlers right there. Campbell in the open field. He's able to shuck him off and buy a little extra time, drop the ball off, and bring up now 4th and short.
Marvin Kinsett, the guy that hauled it in. It is 4th down and 2 to go. Wranglers down by 3 touchdowns. They need 6 points. They'll keep it going, and David Elder will reach, but he is not going to get it. What a great defensive play by the Rattlers. I'm trying to see. That was Castleberry across the way. The safety came up, played the great run-stop defense. Hey, listen, that's what you expect out of the other safety, the strong safety, the position called a bandit. The Rattlers defense, I'm talking about Devontae Merriweather, your free safety. Is he supposed to come down and play that run defense like that?
Well, you look at Castleberry, he's 6'3", 205, 210 pounds, very physical at the point of attack. He was running downhill as soon as the ball was down. Not real excited about that play call. Once you start running flat on the outside and everybody has an ankle on you, and it wasn't 4th and an inch. It was 4th and a yard or so. Go get the first down. Don't be running parallel to the line of scrimmage.
Right at 4 minutes remaining now here in the third quarter. Snead delivers right side. Corey Reed Jr. hauls that in, and he gets to the 20-yard line. Gain of about 7 on the play for Corey and the Rattlers offense.
Corey Reed's played a really nice game. And again, I love the size that Corey Reed has, and he just kind of makes it so easy at 6'3", 210 pounds for the quarterback Dalton Snead to find him. Very smooth when he catches the ball and really nice hands. I think he's an important part of this Arizona Rattler offense.
Ball goes over the middle. We saw that go for a touchdown earlier. The catch is made by Corey Reed, and Corey is knocked down at the 5-yard line. About 15 on the play. Sandy?
I just want a quick sentence from what Dale was saying on Corey Reed Jr. Coach told us yesterday that Corey can be as good as Corey wants. It's all up to Corey. So especially the flashes that Dale is seeing, Coach is seeing, we're all seeing, but it's up to Corey to keep that going the whole year.
Shannon Brooks with the carry this time, and Shannon is knocked down just past the 5-yard line. They'll make him down at about the 3-yard line. Let's remind you what's coming up next game for the Arizona Rattlers, next home game. Get your tickets now. The Rattlers will host Bay Area in 2 weeks. That's May 10th, Saturday at 6:05 p.m. azrattlers.com. Get your tickets now for the next home showdown with the always tough Bay Area Panthers. Shannon Brooks trying to take on the middle of the defense. There wasn't a whole lot going on. The linebacker filled nicely on defense, and that's Kalen Hicks. And he prevents anything more than about a yard gain on the play. You laughing about Shannon picking up that big boy right there?
I'm looking at Brooks. He's listed at 210, and Straughter is listed at 315. You know, if I had $1 for every pound he's over 315, I could probably retire, Floyd. But you see Brooks lifting Straughter up and doing a heck of a job using leverage to his advantage.
Corey Reed, Jamal Miles going motion, fake the pitch. That was good defense to prevent Dalton Snead from sneaking into the end zone. Q Bolden. Karan Bolden is the guy that makes the stop. And that one got to the 1-yard line. So now, here comes 4th down and 1. The Rattlers this season, a perfect, I think right now, 22 out of 22.
Stop.
In the red zone.
Stop.
It's not a broadcaster jinx
it is.
Until it happens.
If they don't score here, Floyd, I'm not talking to the whole fourth quarter. 4th
and goal at the 1-yard line. Can the Rattlers stay perfect in the red zone?
22 of 22.
I think 22 of 22. Here we go. Here's the fake. Throwing the ball back of the end zone. Intercepted. The Wranglers come up with a big stop, a big takeaway. And it was the defender, Kieran Page, who intercepts it for Northern Arizona. I refuse to accept any sort of credit for a broadcaster jinx. We'll grab us a timeout. Stand by. More on that coming up as Northern Arizona turns away the Rattlers. One more look at it over the middle. Stand by, everybody. This is Arizona Rattlers football. Hey, that was a close call on the guy behind that camera right there. His name is Chris Peterson. Peterson doing that hard work down there on the sideline. Chris, good job. Keep it up.
They take their lives in their own hands when they're down on the field, and Kevin Guy got even a little scared there because they were coming. There's a herd coming at him, and I think he was glad that he was tackled before he got to him.
Playing some games on the field here at Desert Diamond Arena, the Snake Pit, home of the Arizona Rattlers. Before we get back to the action, I want to remind you that tonight's player of the game will be brought to you by Thirsty Lion, the official pregame, postgame, and watch party location for the Arizona Rattlers here in Westgate. So it's right outside the stadium. Can't miss it. Thirsty Lion is the place to be, and they will present our player of the game at the conclusion of the broadcast. Start thinking about that, Dale Hellerstray. Start thinking about where your vote goes. We are winding down the third quarter here. Inside a half a minute remaining in the quarter. And C.J. Fowler winds up, delivers across the middle of that defense. David Elder hauls it in. He is tackled at the 20-yard line. Devontae Merriweather on the stop.
You mean to tell me you're going to give me a vote in the most valuable player? You never talked to me about that in a couple years.
Well,
I thought that was the Floyd Simmons player of the game.
That is the end of the third quarter. Time out in the field.
I think we're going to give you that shot. We're going to see how you perform under pressure. End of the third quarter. And the final 15 on the way. Stand by, Rattler Nation. More Arizona Rattlers football is on the way.
Welcome back. Snake Pit, fourth quarter starting here. We got Arizona and Northern Arizona wrapped up in a battle, 42-20. The Rattlers on top. And this might be the last couple words that I say as we're getting our picture taken with.
Oh, we got it. Stryker is in the broadcast booth.
I'll be over here.
Oh, we got to get pictures, right?
It ain't going to look much better. All right. Awesome. I don't know if it's going to turn out or not. Thank you, Stryker.
Stryker in the booth.
But what I wanted to say is I told you at the end of the third quarter, the announcer jinx kicked in.
Yes.
And you went fast forward. You went hardcore. You doubled down. And I said, I'm not going to talk at the fourth quarter. So, Sandy Charles, you're summoned up to the booth to take over analyst duties. Get up here in a hurry.
The fans nor I would want that.
Broadcaster jinx. Hey, listen. The broadcaster jinx is like the dasher boards in the IFL. It is undefeated.
And you tried to buck the system.
It is indomitable.
22 out of 22, and then you doubled down on it.
Yeah. I hope Coach Guy doesn't watch that part of the broadcast afterward. Let's get back to work here. The fourth quarter gets underway. Fowler delivers right side to a new receiver, and you got a convoy going down the sideline. How did Ethan Castleberry manage to help stop the play? That's Nolan Susel is the guy that hauls it in, and he gets the big first down for Northern Arizona.
Got a push there, kept his balance, and really nice play call. Get some offensive linemen out in front. Quick screen to the outside. And had, as you said, a caravan going down the sideline. Pick up the first down. Again, it's 42-20. You'd think the Rattlers are comfortable right now, but don't get too comfortable in the indoor football league.
Empty backfield for Fowler. The crossing route is delivered, and that'll be a short gain. Kobe Smith, short of a first down, but he did haul it in and take it to the 10-yard line for the Wranglers.
You can see this Wrangler team has some talent, and they play hard, and they're going to win some football games. Got a proven coaching staff, as we've talked about. Ron James, we know Sile Burley has been around success. He knows what he's doing. Going to take a little bit of time, but I think as this season goes along, Northern Arizona is going to cause problems for a lot of people.
Fowler is flushed by Sims. And he has to throw it away at the feet of Smith. That was...
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 14 was in the area. It's third down.
And that number 14 is was the receiver, Kobe Smith. Incomplete. Back to the 10-yard line.
Kevin Guy trying to search out a grounding penalty, but yeah, 14 was, what, a yard and a half, 2 yards away from where the ball hit.
So a third down and 6. A third down and 4, pardon, and here's the throw to the end zone. Fowler's pass just off the fingertips of Kobe Smith. Incomplete. Omari Alexander trailing the play for the Rattlers defense.
Ken, you're talking about just inches there. Very nice route by Kobe. Opens up a little bit late. Ball just a little bit out of his outstretched arm. Good protection up front by this Wrangler offensive line. Great coverage by the Rattlers. That looked like Alexander doing a tremendous job, stride for stride. There was a very small window to fit that ball in.
Yeah, if he had laid it in any more nicely, good chance Omari would have came away with the football timeout taken.
Northern Arizona, they're first.
So the timeout is taken.
30 seconds in length.
By Northern Arizona, but we'll just stay right here. And among the things we would like to do, we would like to say a big thank you to one of our presenting sponsors of Arizona Rattlers football, and that is our good friends at Cobblestone, where they've got over 49 valley-wide locations and more on the way. You're sure to find a Cobblestone near you. Save time, save money, and go unlimited with Cobblestone Auto Spa. When you sign up for an unlimited plan, you enjoy exclusive benefits, and you get to wash all you want, whenever you want, with no contract required. And a membership pays for itself in less than 2 visits. Just ask a Cobblestone team member for details, or visit cobblestone.com to find out a location and sign up today. Cobblestone Auto Spa, official car wash of the Arizona Rattlers. Coach Guy calling out the defensive signals.
Little confusion offensively. Let's see what happens here on fourth down.
Wranglers, the throw is incomplete, but a Ethan Castleberry pass interference will bring the ball to the 1 yard line as he kind of hooked Deshaun Stoudemire, the intended receiver.
And again, when it's out in the open field and obviously officials' eyes are on where the ball's going, and he grabbed and kind of spun him around.
Pass, holding, defense number 24. Half the distance to go from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So, yeah, the hold is not they don't spot it at the 1. It does go half the distance. They deem, I guess, the contact happened before the pass was released.
Well, either way, it's a first down for the Wranglers and their first down and goal. Are they 22 for 22 inside the 5 yard line? Can you jinx them?
Not quite as sharp. Here's the give. Susel has it. He's not going. He's not going anywhere. The guy that gets there, the guy on the scene to make the stop is Isaiah Coe.
We saw him come off the field for a couple plays. Such an important player for this Arizona Rattler football team. The guy in the middle takes on double teams, keeps offensive linemen offline, the linebacker, whichever one is playing. Obviously tonight we got Jalen Campbell that does a nice job of doing that and putting pressure on the quarterback, making tackles for losses.
Good hustle, well done by Isaiah. Here's contact on the throw. A knuckleball comes out of there with the big hit by Isaiah, and the officials throw a flag on that contact.
I think that's going to be holding on the center.
Holding, offense number 50. 10-yard penalty to the previous spot. Repeat second down.
If we can see that play again, that's Coe. That's all Coe putting pressure on the quarterback. Center has to grab him and try and toss him down. Watch Coe right in the middle of your screen, working on the center. A little rip move upfield. Center knows he's beat, so I'm going to grab the jersey to try and slow him down just a little bit. Tremendous two-play run by Coe, and he does that pretty consistently.
fella feasting. And we'll see if the Rattlers defense can keep up the intensity as they get benefit of the penalty mark back to the 16-yard line. Second down and goal for Northern Arizona. Low snap. Fowler picks it up and throws it into the ground. It may have been deflected. I don't really think it was. It just kind of came out. And he might have been thinking about, trying to pull that one back one way or the other. Not a pretty pass.
I'm watching him with these gloves, too. I'm not exactly sure why you're wearing gloves indoors. I understand if you're a quarterback and you're outside and there's weather implications and things like that, but I don't know how much those gloves help you indoors.
For some guys, just to feel, Motion on the left side for Fowler, and he is flushed, and he's in trouble, and he'll have to get rid of it, and he does throw that into the 10th row, incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down and goal. The ball just outside the 15-yard line.
Well, if we can get one more replay of that offensive line, Coleman, number 72, the left guard for Northern Arizona. Watch him right here, hands outside, and then watch what happens right here.
Yeah, if there was ever a hold, right?
That's the definition of a hold.
That's one where you could clip that into your presentation for officials around the country. This one's on the ground after the snap. I guess the play's still alive. I'm not sure. Half the players on the field were acting like that wasn't actually a play. It goes incomplete, out of bounds, and I think the Rattlers have the football on a turnover on downs, I believe.
That was 4th down. Sia Burley trying to call timeout before the snap. Something was messed up. It didn't look good from the beginning. The exchange was not good.
Timeout in the field.
So a timeout is taken on the change of possession. We take a timeout as well in the broadcast. Stand by, a 22-point advantage for the Rattlers. We're back with more Arizona Rattlers football in a moment. Back into the action, and look who's going to make his appearance into the game. Drew Powell, he will take over on offense, take over at quarterback for the Arizona Rattlers. When we come out of the timeout, welcome back in, everybody. Floyd Simmons along with Dale Hellestray here in this final 9 minutes of regulation. And Drew's gotten the call from Coach Guy, and he will see if he can engineer another successful Rattlers possession.
And boy, oh boy, how comforting is that to know you got a multi-time MVP as your backup quarterback who's bought in to being where he is and how important he can be. He's going to, I promise you, he's going to have to come in and win a few games for this Arizona Rattler team throughout this entirety of the season.
Hard to stay healthy for 16 full games, that's for sure. And there'll be a gain on that play for Drew of about 6 yards. Kind of had that feel of Drew was coming out. He wanted to get some contact, didn't he? He wanted to get that hit in and kind of feel that.
Remember, in practice, you don't hit the quarterback. You hit the quarterback, there's a fight. And you just don't do that. You know better than that as a defensive guy. So, yeah, you want a little contact when you get out there against another team.
Andrew is going to throw on second down, and the ball just slipped right out of his hands.
I'm not sure that might not be a fumble.
You know, that's a good call. And now one of the Rattlers has tossed one of the Wranglers, and that's that unsportsmanlike conduct thing that's going to get somebody in big trouble. Okay, they did rule a fumble.
First, half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, that's Bryson Mays, the new center. Yeah, it's kind of might be a little hard to argue on that. As he was loading up, it kind of felt like that's when it was coming out.
Well, again, second look at it. What's the Naz guy doing pushing him? Now, he didn't have to full-on toss him.
So a little what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But the officials always see the second guy, don't they?
Oh, they always get the retaliator. And Kevin Ashak, you better get your pocketbook open.
I also want to remind you that as we have played now 22 minutes of the second half, the Rattlers have only managed one score, one touchdown. That's it in this entire second half. So it's been a clunky post-halftime performance by the Rattlers offense. And that's kind of a punctuating point for it. We'll see if next time we come out, I think we'll still see Drew Powell out there, but we'll see how that goes. This Rattlers team, I know, Dale, you want to talk a little bit about kind of the current makeup and what has happened to this Rattlers team in the offseason. Big changes made. We'll look at that. We'll talk about that after this. Catch is made on the left side for a very short gain, and Devontae Merriweather makes sure that one doesn't go any further for Marvin Kinsit on the short pickup.
Yeah, it's the Wranglers, not the Rattlers, I really want to talk about.
The Rattlers, the Wranglers.
You look at preparing for the game, and this team won a championship 2 years ago, good last year, and then almost the entire coaching staff. A bunch of the best players, they all go to the Bay Area, and you wonder why and how. If you're moving from Prescott Valley to the Bay Area, everything that I know about economics is it's way more expensive to live in the Bay Area than it is in northern Arizona. You had a championship club coming back. You just wonder kind of what was going on there, and then you wonder as far as the league. You see all these leagues that fold here, there, and everywhere. It's the leagues that stick together that stand the test of time, and you wonder if this league is all for one and one for all of that, or everybody just out for their own good. So it's something to keep an eye on as the season goes along. The area now has the Northern Arizona coaching staff, a bunch of their players, and they're playing good football this year.
Fowler tucks it, and he is down at the 6-yard line after a short pickup. Jalen Campbell along with Ethan Castleberry on the stop for the Rattlers defense. Yeah, it was a shock to see just how much of a migration there was from Prescott Valley to the Bay Area with the coaches and the players that left. How in the world do you get that many people to go? That's what I want to know. That can't be easy. There's a marker down.
False start. Offense number 55. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
You got to be a real good salesman.
Well, because my daughter lived in the Bay Area for 10 years. I know the apartment she rented there was 3 times the amount of the apartment she got when she moved back here. And so, anyway, I'm just hoping for the good of the league that they have some checks and balances and all that, because you want this indoor football league as a whole to flourish.
Fowler trying to get his offense set. Shuffling players around. There's a snap. The ball's on the ground. And the Wranglers have to cover it up on this 4th down attempt. And the officials say that was a live play recovered by, yes, Northern Arizona, but it's going to be Arizona Rattlers football. Turnover on downs.
Well, again, here's going to be the Rattlers are I don't know what you're going to challenge, but
the ruling on the field deserves a backwards pass snap recovered by the Rattlers to be 1st down.
Doesn't matter if they recover or not. It was 4th down.
And the center is 0 for 1.
Arizona is challenging the ruling on the field of illegal defense. Specifically, the defensive end, the defensive lineman was not down at their stance at the snap. The play is now under review.
Well, that's interesting because the defender is looking at. He's watching the offense. We got to grab a break. We'll talk more about it in a moment. But he's watching the offense. The offense is like the quarterback's turning away. The defender, he came up out of a stance undoubtedly. Stand by. A timeout. We're back in a moment with more Arizona Rattlers football. Take another look at it while they review it. Still haven't had the results back from the official on his review of the defense. Actually, that's coming right about now.
After review, there is a penalty on the play for illegal defense. A defender not down in a three-point stance. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat 4th down. Northern Arizona has not charged a timeout.
Well, why would you be in your three-point stance? I mean, come on. Come on.
Well,
Arizona head coach is challenging the rule on the field that prior to illegal defense, there was a false start by the offense. The play is under review.
Interesting. A little tit for tat, a little chest. Roll that back, guys. Watch the guard on the left side. And I think you're going to find the possible infraction right there. That's Jonas Coleman. Now watch the guard. Yeah, you see him?
No, I don't know how you can jump outside. The ball snapped before anybody's ready to go.
Well, the guard, before the snap, his hand is in the air and he's going down into his three-point stance. It's a stance issue.
Review, there were 3 members of the offense in motion prior to the snap. By rule, this is a false start. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
But wait a minute.
Arizona has won all 3 challenges and are out of challenges for the remainder of the game.
But what about the other penalty? Does the one negate the other?
Yeah, because the play doesn't start if it's a false start.
Okay.
Play's over.
So it doesn't matter?
No. Wow. Wow.
That was a pretty masterful performance by Coach Guy with the reviews today, with the challenges.
Checkers.
What's that again, Sandy?
Coach Guy is playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah, while others are playing checkers. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
So brings up 4th down. That would have been 4th down, Rattlers ball. I promise you, Kevin Guy's not putting this Picasso up in his office somewhere. But if it's a 4th win, it's a 4th win.
Yeah, and what are they playing for right now, right? Right now you start to think about home field advantage. I know it's early. It's the first quarter of the season. But you start to get a lead in the standings in your conference. You're playing for home field advantage at this stage. Playoffs a long time away, that's for sure.
My goodness gracious. There's been a couple times we've seen this Wrangler offense be a little bit confused. And again, they're implementing a lot of what the Rattlers do, except for the Rattlers been doing it for a long, long time.
4th down again. This time it's 4th and 14 for Northern Arizona. Fowler throws it up left side, and it's almost intercepted. I think that was Castleberry who ended up in the wall.
Boy, it is good to be young. The way he bounced on that dasher board. I'm going to be interested to see. I see Drew Powell does not have any gloves on. Now, I did not notice in his first stint if he had gloves on when that ball slipped out of his hand.
I don't recall, yeah. Well, the Rattlers are now under 5 minutes away from their 4th victory of the season. Miles in motion, handoff to Shannon Brooks. And Brooks will get knocked down by the edge. Karan Bolden is the guy that made the tackle.
You just want that clock to run right now. You want everybody to stay healthy. Run the ball 5-6 more times and head for the showers. With still being 4-0 and a lot to work on. I would not want to be in special teams meetings on Monday.
Somebody's got to come up with an answer, right? You know, that's...
You're going to get holding there.
Drew Powell, late hit. So you got a holding and then a late hit, right? Those will not offset, will they? Hit after the play.
That is a dead ball. That's going to be the great stiff arm.
Oh, it was just he threw him into the stands.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both of which will be enforced. Holding offense number 57. That's a 10-yard penalty from previous spot. It'll still be second down. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 6, 15-yard penalty, and it's an automatic first down. Number 6 is first unsportsmanlike of the game.
So for a moment, it was still second down. It was second down for that period of time between when he said it, still be second down, and then he described the second penalty.
I think he realized it. So it's going to be a first down. But again, this is where, if you're the Arizona Rattlers, you've got to figure out a way to finish cleanly. Do not buy into the Wranglers' nonsense. They're frustrated. They're upset. They're going to be 0-4, and so they're going to take some shots. Do not bite into that. And as teammates, as leaders, the older guys, and I know there's not a whole lot out there right now, but they got to grab their teammates, get them back to the huddle. Get back to the huddle.
Drew Powell has them lined up. And Powell delivers. Pass caught in the middle. Corey Reed Jr. takes it upfield. And for Corey, how about a gain of 14 yards on the play? Mark him at the 12-yard line.
That's complete to the run. Corey Jr.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin starts taking a little bit of time bringing the play in.
Handoff. Nope. Fake it. Drew Powell. Powell gets contact at the 7, spins his way ahead to near the 5, make it the 6-yard line. At the conclusion of our broadcast, we will present the Thirsty Lion Player of the Game. And there really are a number of players in contention. It's not one of those games where one guy just stood out completely ahead of the pack. You could go with a number of different Rattlers, I think, on a night like this. And we'll get our broadcasting brain trust together here and make that announcement at the conclusion. Toss it right side. And Shannon Brooks runs into trouble in the backfield. Shannon did everything he could just to get back to the line of scrimmage. In fact, ended up losing a yard on the play.
You still got to love the way that the Wranglers defense is flying to the football. I mean, when you're in this situation, a lot of times you see teams not go as hard as Northern Arizona is going right now. And yet this defense has some pride. They're trying to keep the Rattlers out of the end zone here before the end of the game.
Approaching the 1-minute warning. And Drew's got a lot of time to throw. He's got a wide open Shannon Brooks. Hauls it in with the one hand. And Brooks in the end zone for a Rattlers touchdown.
Got to tell you, Floyd, really impressed with the pass protection, the offensive line, the time they've given both quarterbacks tonight. Improved dramatically from the first game that I saw them play here live in the Snake Pit. And there's a 1-minute warning.
We've reached the 1-minute warning. We will have the try for point and then go to media.
That's you, Dale Hellestrand.
Game clock should not start for this play.
Media.
No, I'm not media. You're media. That's why you have the kiss of death.
The broadcaster jinx. Here's the point after. And the kick is successful. So we got a minute remaining in regulation. The Rattlers cruising to another victory here. Front by 29. Stand by. This is Arizona Rattlers football. Back into the snake pit, everybody. There's Bob with the giant orange gloves. The official name of that guy, by the way, is the Red Hat.
Yeah, I've never understood that because since I've been in the league, it's been orange.
He's the Red Hat, but he's got orange gloves. It's, like my granddaughter, her name is, we call her by her middle name, which is Allie. Never call her by her first name, which is Paisley. Well, yesterday she was introducing herself to somebody and she said, "My name is Paisley." Tackle made at the 24-yard line. I guess we need to start calling her by the name she wants.
Probably.
Not the name we're all calling her. So back to the action, final minute of football here. We will announce that player of the game coming up in a little bit. And as we think about who might pick up the honors tonight.
After the play was over, personal foul. Receiving team number 6. Half the distance of the goal. 1st and 10, Northern Arizona.
So we think about it. Let me plant some seeds for you. Dale Hellestray. Shannon Brooks catches that touchdown pass a moment ago. That's his 3rd touchdown of the game, his season debut.
Okay.
He rushed for 2 touchdowns, including the first score of the game. Remember that. So he's scored 3 touchdowns. Dalton Sneed rushed for 2 touchdowns and threw for another score. And Dalton, after last week's just a bad performance on the receiving end where there were 9 drop balls that Coach talked about. Today, they cleaned that up a lot, and Dalton finished the game with 17 out of 20 for 172 yards. And a touchdown to go along with the 2 rushing touchdowns he scored. So Dalton's definitely, I think, in your discussion. And then we can talk about the defense after this play where the ball is dropped. And eventually a loss on the play. It was ultimately covered up by Fowler. And that was James Nehemiah who gets there on the play. Help keep this thing from going anywhere.
Again, the ball, though, is snapped when the quarterback is not expecting it. We don't know a whole lot about Naz. Don't know if it's a new center.
Well, I think Fowler's new. Might have played the last game, but I believe that C.J. Fowler is also a new, new component in the offense, and so they're still just trying to get their rhythm, trying to get it figured out. Final seconds will tick off this thing. Who you got as your player of the game?
Who do I got?
Let me throw a couple other names at you, by the way. Okay. Because I think on defense, Ethan Castleberry played a strong game. I believe that in the defensive backfield, Rashi Hodge gets some mention. Early interception for the team. And Isaiah Coe was a disruptive force along that defensive front.
So let me tell you, you're finally getting into the nuts and bolts of the game. Your typical broadcaster, the first thing you do is all the fancy Nancy guys. The quarterbacks were under no pressure tonight, whether it's Powell or Dalton. Defensively, if it's defense, it's Coe. If it's offense, go off the grid a little bit.
All right, think about that while we hear from head coach Kevin Guy. His team is 4-0, and Sandy's got the coach.
Hey, Floyd, thanks. Coach, 4 wins. A win is a win, pretty or not. Let's keep it simple. What are you leaving? What are you taking from this game?
Well, we were a little sloppy at the end. Just a bunch of penalties, both teams. I thought the player of the game was me because I was 3 for 3 on challenges.
We did say you're playing checkers, not chess, at the booth, and I said that. Let's talk offensive linemen, new personnel. Bryson Mays, how did he gel? What did you see from the offensive line tonight?
Well, I thought our offensive line was fine. I mean, they run a different scheme where they try to slant a lot to the field. They got some big safeties that come down and fill into the box. So, but I thought our effort on offense was pretty good. I think we got stopped twice. I think Dalton had the pick, and then Drew had the turnover. I believe that was it. So I have to get on my quarterbacks tomorrow.
You are almost perfect in the red zone through 4 games. What is clicking? What are you seeing from a coach's point of view? What's clicking on offense?
Well, we're just, we're executing and keeping it simple. Teams are trying to play zone because we got some receivers that can stretch the field, and we're just kind of taking what they give us and not trying to get overzealous. But, that turnover that Dalton had down in the end zone, red zone, really wasn't his fault. Shannon should have came back and picked up that linebacker, and I think there was some confusion which one was the blitzing linebacker. So we'll get all that cleaned up. It's first game back. He hadn't played in over a year, so we'll clean it up and start getting ready for next week.
Last one, the thorn in your side, special teams. What changes?
Personnel. Personnel. So we just, we gotta get dialed in. Both times they've had the big run backs. We just had guys that were coasting, taking plays off. That's just not Rattler football. So we'll address it and keep addressing it. And if we got to make some changes, we will.
Thank you, Coach. Floyd, to you.
All right, Sandy, thank you. And another victory for the Arizona Rattlers. They are now 4-0 on the campaign. A 49-20 victory tonight over the winless Northern Arizona Wranglers. Well, we are going to speak to Isaiah Coe if it's possible, and I think we have him. He is, according to Dale Hellestrate, today's Arizona Rattlers Player of the Game. It's presented by the Thirsty Lion. We have zero stats to back it up, except the guy came and he played, and Big Man is with Sandy Charles, our Player of the Game.
Awesome. Thank you, Floyd. Isaiah, Player of the Game. It was intense. It wasn't a pretty win, but how were you able to pull out the win?
Just staying composed, staying confident in the game plan, having our back when we needed to. When it was crunch time, we all knew we had to bow up on both sides of the ball, and we just played complimentary football when the time it needed to be.
What do you take? You guys are 4-0 now. What do you take from this game to keep this momentum going?
Man, just do whatever we can to win. No matter if we got to scratch, we got to claw, we got to fight. No matter what, just do whatever it takes to come out on top with a W, man. I'd rather learn from a win than a loss. So whenever I can. Shout out.
Being Player of the Game, what does that mean to you? Why is it so important to come out and play so hard?
I just, try to perfect my craft every time I step on the field, try to prove that, I'm one of the best players on both sides of the ball in the game and in the league. So just come out here trying to dominate each and every way I can, be there for my teammates. I'm nothing without them. So as long as I show them love and they can help me on the front and the back end, we could be a complete team.
Last one, what's it like to play for head coach Kevin Guy?
Intense, man. I love that guy. That's a funny guy. He's all big, and, just trying to enjoy the process.
He does. He wants to see all of you guys succeed and be your best. Floyd, back to you.
Our Player of the Game presented by the Thirsty Lion, located right here at Westgate. And that's the place to be, by the way, for the pregame get-together, the postgame get-together, watch parties when the Rattlers are on the road. Go check it out, the Thirsty Lion. They present the Rattlers Player of the Game. There's Isaiah Coe. Well, Dale, you were complaining about not getting any say, not getting, that we didn't, give the big guys the love, all that stuff. I was definitely going to go with one of the fancy Nancys, like you talked about. My vote was going to go probably to Dalton or Shannon, but you stepped in there.
Same old. And again, you give it and listen to Coe talk. He's excited. He's pumped up. And Dalton would have just said, "Yeah, it's another award."
Yeah, I've done it 800 times.
Yeah, come on. Come on. Give it to one of my other teammates. So, hey, I appreciate being an honor because it's honorary. I'm sure it's only going to last a week since I chose somebody you didn't. Being part of the Brain Trust for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be kicked out to the curb, and I won't have a say next week.
Well, listen, I love Isaiah Coe. I thought he played a great game. We will have to revisit this whole thing next time around, which is, by the way, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, the Arizona Rattlers will be at home against the Bay Area Panthers. That's the next home game, and we certainly invite you to get your tickets as soon as possible. Why not go to azrattlers.com, purchase those tickets. That game coming up Saturday, May 10th at 6:05 p.m. The Rattlers hosting the always tough Bay Area Panthers.
Probably recognize a few names, from Northern Arizona. Coach?
Might see some very familiar names.
Okay. Yeah.
Les Moss is one of those coaches.
Yeah.
Rod Windsor.
Yeah. A couple players.
Some great coaches, some great players will be populating that staff, and we'll
keep an eye on it.
It'll be a little bit of homecoming for some guys we know.
I think the Rattlers might be
love.
focused in a little bit more next.
Rattlers are going to be ready to play that game.
Yes.
There's no question about that. They're kind of, I'll tell you, Bay Area's got this one circled on their schedule.
Yeah.
I think the Rattlers have that one circled on their schedule. Can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. Big game in 2 weeks. Want to thank our entire broadcast team for this one tonight as the Rattlers go to 4-0 with tonight's 49-20 victory over Northern Arizona. Big thank you to our producer and technical director, Derek Simmons, our director, Bob Hammond, as well on this one, and running cameras for us in this include great guys like Jim Hartman and Chris Peterson, along with Michael Sly. For my partner in the booth, Dale Hellestray. Great job today, Dale.
Thank you. You too.
For Dale, for our sideline reporter for Sandy Charles, I am Floyd Simmons. Thanking you for joining us. Remember, Arizona Rattlers football is a presentation of the Simmons Media Group. We'll see you in 2 weeks for our next Rattlers broadcast. Until then, God bless you and good night, everybody from Glendale.
Thank you for watching this presentation of the Indoor Football League on the IFL Network.